Who knows this song? Down by the Salley Gardens, my love and I did meet. She crossed the Salley Gardens with little snow-white feet. So there were areas of ancient towns all over Europe where marshy ground was used to grow willow for basket weaving. These were called withy beds or Salley gardens. And Salley gardens comes from the old word for willow, sallow. The willow branches were pushed into the marshy ground and they would sprout up fronds that would grow straight. And then after a few years, the willow was actually mature enough to be cut. And these long fronds of willow would be cut and harvested and then turned into baskets. Today, wicker baskets are kind of a novelty, but it's wonderful to think that at some point in time, this stuff was used for everything in the place of cardboard and plastic. The thing about wicker is that when you find old wicker, it can often look distressed and just tired. So this is something that's new, this wicker hamper, and here's an old laundry basket that I have used ever since I moved into this apartment almost 10 years ago, and I revived it when I first brought it into this space. I found this thing at a yard sale and it was really dingy, and now it's looking a little sad again. So I'm going to show you today how to revive old wicker. I'm just going to read you a little bit from one of my favorite books, The Forgotten Arts and Crafts by John Seymour. He's reminiscing about basketry when he was young. I can remember a time not all that long ago when most things that are now packed in cardboard or plastic came in a basket. All sorts of farm produce and seafoods were harvested and then traveled in baskets, which now you would have to pay a great deal of money for in their own right, supposing you could find someone who knew how to make them. Basket work protected your bottles from breaking, your hats from squashing, and your picnics from ants. Nor was packing and storage the end of the matter. Basket work was so much a part of everyday life that you might very well catch sparrows in a basket trap when you were young and end up being pushed in a wicker bath chair when you were old. So, you're at a junk shop, you're at an antique market, you're at a thrift store, and you find an old wicker basket or an old wicker rocking chair. If it's not painted and it's really old, often it's kind of dingy depending on where it came from. In between the wicker pieces, there's often dust and grime. And if you see something you like, don't just assume that that's the way it's going to look. You can really clean it up and make it look beautiful. Buy the thing, bring it home. The first thing that you need to do is wash it. And I did that to this basket when I first brought this to my apartment. I actually put it in the bathtub and I turned on the hot water and I used some Murphy's oil soap and I washed the whole thing, and it was just filthy, the water that ran through this thing. But wicker was really meant to be used, and it would get wet and it would dry, so you can wash it. You don't want to wash it often, but if you bring something home and it's dirty, you can wash it once, and you can wash it really well. When you're washing wicker, try to do it on a warm, sunny day so that as soon as it's washed, you can put it out into the bright sun and it can dry quickly and thoroughly. The key thing about washing wicker is that you want it to be dried completely before you bring it back into your home. If you bring damp wicker back into a house and it doesn't fully dry, it can start to grow mold. I bought this basket in the summer, I washed it in the bathtub, and I actually put it out on the fire escape for a few days in the hot sun to make sure it was completely dry. When you're washing wicker, you can actually use a little scrubby brush, like a gentle scrubby brush or a toothbrush, to get in between the actual crevices and get out all of the dirt. And if you live in the country or if you live in a place with a backyard, use the hose. Hose this down, scrub it with soap and water, and then hose it down again, and then leave it out in the sun to dry. That's the best way to give it its initial cleaning. My preferred method of treating wicker after it's been washed and dried is to oil it with linseed oil. And the solution that I like to make is a proportion of linseed oil to mineral spirits or turpentine. You can adjust the proportion depending on how dry it is. What I like to do is usually 1 part linseed oil to 1 part mineral spirits, or 2 parts mineral spirits to 1 part linseed oil. You don't want too much oil with the spirits, otherwise it'll be tacky and kind of sticky. So the most amount of linseed oil that I would add is 1 to 1, not 2 part linseed oil to 1 part mineral spirits. That's too much. So, simple. Put on some gloves. And just get everything ready before you're actually going to apply the solution to the wicker. I have my rag bag here, my trusty rag bag. Get out some rags, because this is what we're going to use to apply the solution to the wicker. And then in a little container, we need some linseed oil, and then equal parts or a little more of any kind of spirits. This is actually an odorless solvent that I use for painting, and I like this because it doesn't smell. Give it a little stir. You can use a chopstick, you don't have to use your finger. And then you take the solution on a cloth and rub it onto the wicker, and you can see immediately the wicker just changes color and comes to life. Now to get into the crevices, you can use a paintbrush, but you don't want to put on so much that it's dripping everywhere. Start with a little bit of it and wipe it off. Look at that. Can you see that? What a difference this is to over here. And this is really something that is nice to do outside in the yard. I don't have a yard, so I have to do this inside. And when you do this for the first time on a piece that's old and grimy, after you've washed it, this solution will actually take off more dirt if there's still dirt on the wicker. It helps to clean it. Okay, so look at what a difference. There's the oiled side, there's the unoiled side. I'm just going to continue. So you want to do this on a warm, sunny day as well, because once you've applied this solution to the wicker, you want it to fully cure and dry. And the best way to do that is to put it out in the sun. Take your time, get into every spot with the solution. There, that looks new again, looks happy again. So that's how you do it. You buy some old wicker, looks really sad, wash it up, give it an oiling, bring it back to life. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, please subscribe so we can continue making videos. You can continue learning new things, or just watching me do things. This video was brought to you by viewers like you who contributed to my GoFundMe campaign. Thank you so much for making this happen. It's greatly appreciated.